Welcome everybody to WiseTake.com MMA DFS podcast. I'm your host Jeff, aka Wiggy Wiggleson, aka Wigspliter. Today we're going to be going over UFC Fight Night, Kamaru Usman versus Damian Maia. I'm only going to break down 4 fights, and at the end I'll give you a quick fire on who I'm picking, or who I'm leaning towards initially on my picks. But this is geared more towards DFS, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a insight on some of the fights. The first fight on the card that we're going to be going over is Claudio Puelles versus Felipe Silva. I think this is a tough matchup for Claudio Puelles. I think he's coming off of a layoff of about 8 or 9 months. Felipe Silva is same thing, roughly about a year layoff. Silva is a tough dude, man. He's a very aggressive striker. He's just one of those guys that he's always coming forward. He's got a super strong right hand. His salary on DraftKings is $9,400. It's one of the top salaries on the slate. Claudio Puelles' salary is $6,800. It's one of the lowest on the slate. I'm not saying that Puelles doesn't have a chance to win this fight, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging for him. Puelles is one of those guys where he's very athletic, solid striker. He's got good ground and pound if he takes you down. He has some submission skills. But Felipe Silva, man, this guy, he has a kickboxing background, so he has very strong kicks. He has a very, very solid right hand. I think Silva's going to be one of those guys where you can build around, definitely. But at 9,400, he's going to handicap your roster build. He's definitely both these guys are definitely GPP worthy. I think Puelles is a high risk, high reward type guy if he's able to pull off the submission or maybe get a stoppage against Silva. Silva was knocked out recently, so there is that upset upside there. So I think both these guys are definitely GPP viable. There's slight risk with Silva for cash, but I think he should be okay. In cash games, you can get away with 1 loss, so there's nothing wrong with that. Moving on to the next fight, we have this fight is actually really interesting. I like this fight. Is Poliana Botelho and Siri Kondo. Both these ladies are going to bring it. I'm not sure if you guys seen any of Poliana Botelho's fights or Siri Kondo's fights. Siri Kondo is one of those just come forward, nonstop, in your face, active strikers, and she will just, she'll literally charge in to just to be in your face. I mean, that's what she does. Botelho is she's a little bit bigger. She's going to be about 4 inches taller than Kondo. There's going to be a little bit of a size advantage, but I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. I still think this fight is going to go to decision. Botelho's salary on DraftKings is $8,700. It's workable. Kondo's salary is $7,500. I think both these ladies are safe for cash. GPP, I would definitely be interested in Kondo. At that price, she can definitely pay off her salary if she doesn't get finished. That's the only thing that would concern me. But she seems fairly durable at this point in her career, so I could see this going to a decision. Next fight we're going to go over is Enrique Barzola and Brandon Davis. Brandon Davis looked a little better in his last fight. Both these guys have fought Kyle Bochniak, so they do have a common opponent. Barzola is one of those like aggressive grapplers. I mean, he has a strong double leg takedown. He has decent power in his right hand. He's built like a brick house, man. He's going to be the smaller guy, but he is super strong. He's a solid grappler. His salary on DraftKings is $8,900. Davis's salary is $7,300. Davis is one of those guys. He fights from distance. He seems like a point fighter. I don't necessarily have a lot of interest in Davis just because he doesn't seem like he has finishing potential. If this fight goes to decision, it could be low scoring for Davis. Barzola seems like the guy that if he could get in on Davis's legs and land the takedowns, he should score a decent amount of points. But it could be one of those fights where I just want to stay away from. I'm not completely sure yet. This is first look. But yeah, the 8,900. This should be a fairly solid fight. But I like Barzola in this one. I think Barzola for GPP wise might be a little risk because if it does go to decision, it could be low scoring, especially since Davis does fight from distance. Moving on to the last fight we're going to go over is Veronica Macedo and Andrea KGB Lee. Andrea Lee, I think she's actually been signed to the UFC for a while. I'm not sure if she had. I'd have to look into it a little more, but I believe she had some sort of issues, either at the beginning of her career. I'm not sure if it was actually physical issues or something. But Macedo just is coming off of a third round loss to Ashley Evans Smith. Macedo is I think she has a like a taekwondo or kick karate type style background, so she throws a lot. She's leg kick. She throws a lot of kicks. Her hand striking is not as prominent. And Andrea Lee, I think she's going to be the bigger girl in the cage, even though this is at 125. I think this is Macedo. She fought at 115 or before, but Andrea Lee should be the bigger fighter when it comes to weigh-ins. She should make weight, and then the day of the fight, she probably should fill out a lot better. But Andrea Lee is a well-rounded fighter. She has heavy strikes. She's always coming forward. She's going to be in her face. I think Andrea Lee, her salary is $9,200 on DraftKings. It's sort of steep, but I think she could have lower ownership. And Macedo, I think at 7,000, I don't think very many people are going to go there. Definitely could use a GPP flyer, but I would be extremely low ownership when it comes to Macedo. Exposure-wise, I think Andrea Lee is probably going to have a solid first fight in the UFC against a decent fighter in Macedo, but I think she might be a little outmatched. But then you never know. Andrea Lee could come in and, the adrenaline dump of being the first time in the cage in the UFC, it could be rough. Depends on how she can recover from that. But we'll like to see. It'll be like to see. So those are the four fights I'm going to go in full depth, or not necessarily full, but it's first look. Going from the top to bottom, Damian Maia versus Kamaru Usman. I like Kamaru Usman's chance against Damian Maia. You could never count out a world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy like Maia, but Usman just seems like he's on another level when it comes to taking people out. Nobody wants to fight this guy. Damian Maia stepped in and took the fight. So, and then Alexa Grasso versus Tatiana Suarez. I think Tatiana Suarez is probably going to steamroll over Grasso. I like Suarez in this match. This is a very interesting fight. Jared Cannonier versus Dominic Reyes. A lot of people discount Dominic Reyes' abilities. I like Dominic Reyes in this fight, but you can never count out Cannonier, but he does have gas tank issues. Diego Rivas versus Guido Canetti. This guy has a very good story. He was diagnosed with cancer, and basically given him a short time to live, was able to take on, go through all the treatment, and now he's back in the cage fighting again. So that's an awesome story. Kennedy, I've never really been a big fan of. I like Diego Rivas in this fight. I already told you I like Andrea Lee in this fight. This is another fight that I think is going to be very interesting. Vicente Luque versus Chad Laprise. A lot of people discount Chad Laprise. He seems like he's on another level right now. He's riding a wave, but Vicente Luque is one of those guys. It's hard to discount his abilities. I like Vicente Luque in this fight. It's going to be a tough one. Moving on to the prelims, Zach Cummings versus Michael Prazeres. Michael Prazeres has no neck, so how can you choke him out? Zach Cummings, both these guys are good fighters. Prazeres has gas tank issues. I think it's just going to be an interesting fight. I mean, I think it's going to be closer to a coin toss, but I think Prazeres might pull off a decision here. Moreno and Pantoja. Pantoja is coming back from a loss in January. Very quick turnaround. I think it was a KO loss. Brandon Moreno had his last. He's coming off of a defeat from, I believe, Sergio Pettis. I think it was back in August. But this should be a fairly interesting fight. I think this is another one of those coin tosses from a DFS standpoint. I'm not sure if I want to stick around for this one, but it's going to be high risk, high reward depending on which guy you pick. I like Moreno, and then we already went over the Patello-Kondo fight. I like Kondo all the way around for cash and GPP just because there's possible upside there. And then another good fight on the card to lead off the FS2 prelims is Gabriel Benitez versus Humberto Bandone. Both these guys are, I think this is going to be a very hairy fight, and I think it could be one of those ones where one of these guys is on the winning GPP lineup. Definitely. I'm still not sure on who I want to pick on this one, but I definitely will have shares of both of them when it comes to GPPs. Now, Enrique Barzola, I already went over that. I like Barzola. I think I'm going to fade Brendan Davis just because of his output. And if it goes to decision, he's not necessarily a high output striker. Briones versus Sands. I think Briones maybe because of the KO upside, but Sands because of, I don't know. There's another one I still haven't really. I only watched a couple fights of each of these guys in the past day or so, so not really sure on that one. And then I think Felipe Silva on the first fight on the on the UFC Fight Pass early prelims. I'm picking him, but hopefully you guys like the content that I'm providing. If you head on over to wisestake.com, I do a full fight-by-fight breakdown. I give you breakdowns of GPP and cash options. If you have any questions about roster building, I can help you with that. We also have a live stream on Saturday where we go over the fights, fight by fight, in depth, the day of the contest. So it's one of those last minute live things you can get in, put in your questions and answers. It's only $4.99 to get an event pass. I believe it's $29.99 for the monthly pass. It'll give you access to all 4 events throughout the month. There's going to be 11 events in the next 12 weeks. So I really appreciate you guys taking your time out of the day. Don't forget that at wisestake.com we do cover Major League Baseball, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, of course. Football's right around the corner. You can pick up the all-sport package. You can pick up a day pass for baseball. You could pick up an event pass for NASCAR, PGA as well. These are those things that we offer. There's coaching sessions. There's strategy guides. There's a whole bunch of stuff on wisestake.com that we have, and we're here to help you become a better DFS player. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of the day to come and listen to me talk a little bit about MMA. UFC is one of my passions. I love everything that has to do with mixed martial arts. I appreciate your time. If you can, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Head on over to wisestake.com, pick up an event pass for $4.99. Don't worry about getting that value meal this week. Just go ahead and jump in with both feet, and then with the money you make from the contest you have this weekend, you can pay for a month pass, and then after the money you make from the month pass, you can buy the year pass, and we can go from there. And I'll see you in the live stream chat on Saturday morning. Thank you for your time, and as always, have fun and make that money.
Yeah.